Hi.
Hey Dee,
Hey, Sharon.
how are you?
I'm great. I am great.
How you living in COVID?
Girl, I'm here. I'm surviving. And I'm
But are you?
actually, you know what? I'm not just surviving, I'm actually thriving.
I was just about to say, but are you thriving?
I am thriving.
I said, nah, I will thrive. Yes, yes. Hey everybody, how you doing? Feel free to share this video. My name is Sharon Combs. This is Dee Lewis, and this is Talk Time with Dee and Sharyn. It's been quite a while since we were here talking, but
Yes,
we're gonna
yes.
get on here today and we just gonna talk.
Talk
Talk.
about it.
TAWK. I'm from Oklahoma. We gonna talk.
Talk
Yes, I know,
about it.
right? That's a mess. For all the friends in England and other areas, we are aware that it is talk, and we are aware that it is TALK. TALK. We just wanted to add a little humor.
Put
Tonight's
our own swag on there.
yes, we put our own swag on there.
Yes.
Yay! So listen, man. Today we are talking about are you ready? Who's ready? You ready? Are you ready? Different ways to be ready, different ways physically,
Yes.
financially, mentally, emotionally. Man, it's a
Mhm.
lot of things going on with mental health and emotional well being right now. Spiritually, are you ready?
Yes.
And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And D, it's been a while since we chatted. So if you'll do me the honors, I'm going to let you jump right in with who's ready?
I
Will you
just
be
want to
ready?
say,
Are you ready?
I want to say, hey, everybody that has followed us in the past. And every now and then I get emails like, where are y'all? Y'all not doing talk time. So tonight, Sharon said, get on here and let's do it. So we're on here and we're doing it. And when she called, we were saying, what are we going to discuss tonight? And the thought just came to me. It's so much going on in our world today. The political division, the black-white division, America and all of our enemies division. the it's just so
The
much
sexual,
going.
yeah, LGBT. There's division
It,
there.
it's so much going on. It is
Everything is
so much going
division.
on. Yes, and it's sad. It's scary. And if you don't really have a foundation, it's so easy. I mean, even the truth is like there are some certain things like I feel like I'm so deep, couldn't even like I ain't even dealing with all that. But you get caught up in this foolishness. It's so
Man,
easy to get caught up in your feelings, and you want to keep all day Googling and Facebooking and replying back to people with your answer to overcome their answer, and it just becomes an out and out war. It's a battle going on, y'all. And you know what? It's got to stop. It's got to stop. But no, anyway, that's look. I did too.
yeah, you
Digress
did.
from what we were talking about, but that's on my heart tonight, y'all. You know what? Maybe instead of all the going back and forth, let's just start praying. Let's start praying for each other. As a believer, we can pray for our enemies. We don't have to be in agreement with everything they say, but if that's still my brother or still my sister, I'm not supposed to war with them either. So I challenge us instead, and I'm talking to myself right now because some of these comments I just constantly want to just shut up. Let's keep it real.
But hold your form, right? Right, but hold your
Yes, I
form.
was like, shut up. If some of us don't even know what we're talking about, and we're out here giving all the answers. And I just challenge us. Let's just pray. Let's pray and really ask God to take our feelings out of it, our personal feelings out of it. And I'm gonna end with this: just the Chronicles. If my people call by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. Y'all, then he says he'll heal the land. There's very little we can do when we're warring and bickering back and forth. But if we call on him, Lord, we're doing what you commanded us to do. Now will you heal this land? And I want to say on what's going on, but with all of this going on, the one thing, COVID is here, and we look at the number of deaths since this started. And whether people say it was an underlying condition, it was the virus, whatever it is, the people are gone.
People are
They're
dead.
gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So even that fight, it's over. It doesn't matter what happened at this point. They're gone. And because of that, we recently had someone in our family that passed. And, you know, it just kind of hit me. Y'all, we got to get ready. And I told Sharyn, physically, mentally, financially, and I'm just going, I'm all about let's keep it real. We know we're going to die. This is the one subject people act like is a curse to talk about it. I really seriously, I know life and death and the power of the tongue and all that. But whether you say I'm eventually going to die, it's real. It's
Yeah, it
still
is.
real. And it doesn't make it come any sooner because you know that you're eventually going to die. And so I have to challenge us, y'all. It's one thing when you pass away suddenly as a 18, 19, 20. Nobody expects that, even though it's happening more and more, but people don't expect it. When you are 30, 40, 50, 60, and you have not put one dime aside, not one dime aside for your home going. And then your family is struggling. Most family members today don't have money to bury you. You have not put up anything to bury you. And I'm just going to say, I'm so tired of seeing people with Coach, Louis Vuittons, fur coats.
You
And
starting
then when
something.
it's time to bury you, they're begging us for $5 and $10. And I'm really not trying to offend anybody. If you ask me for money, this is not a slap in the face. This is for you, for anybody else. It's time to put your house in order. It is time to take care of business. And that's what it is. We're going to die. The funeral home is going to get paid one way or the other. And the sad thing is, your kids love you, your family loves you. So everybody feels guilty now that you're gone with no money to pay. So they still want to give you this amazing funeral. Who's paying for this? Who's paying? And I'm going to really call you out if you are a saint and you know
Oh, you starting something.
I'm starting it.
Listen, man.
If you are a believer and you have not put money aside so that my family will not struggle when I leave this earth, shame on us. Shame
No.
on us. Shame on us. Okay? So I'm going to talk about first spiritually. One day, this, I find it so funny when you talk about people and they know they're doing wrong or we're not living right. I said, we all include all of us. But don't say, what if you don't get to heaven? Oh, that strikes a nerve. Oh, he loves me. He loves me. Judge not the GP, judge not. That scripture, we actually take it often out of context. And the truth is, you can judge me because we're supposed to hold each other accountable anyway. Okay? But that is not saying we can't talk to each other. You're my sister. I can't give you corrective. Are you, sister, I love you. Are you lining up with the word? I'm not supposed to condemn you. That's not my job. But it never did say I can't tell you when it's off. And if you off, you off. If I'm off, I'm off. So first let's get that together.
Um,
Spiritually. Go ahead, Sharon. You want to
Yeah, I
jump?
just want to jump in right there on the judgment. That's one of the things I do love about Talk Time with Dee and Sharyn. For those of you who are looking, please feel free to share this video and weigh in with your comments. If it's some
We
things you
welcome
want to
it.
say
We
or you
welcome
feel like you want to share the screen, that's cool. Weigh in, put something in the comments, and we can work that out. But one of the things I love the most about when I get to get here and we get to talk with Dee and myself, we don't always agree on everything. We have different
it.
nuances. We
Because I'm
agree on
always
some of the
right.
basic things. So I just want to say with the judgment, I do subscribe to judge not that ye be not judged, but in context, there's a judgment that has a finality to it, and sometimes here in this time, not in the by and by, but here, just people at gas stations, and because you read something on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, and your feelings, like I don't know if it's your panties in a bunch or your feelings or whatever it is,
Mm.
but there's some offense, like something you don't like about it, like, oh, it hits you wrong. And so from that place you judge. And that is a judgment that is
Well, that's
similar to
off.
like a judge's judgment.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
wrong That's
Yeah,
wrong. You don't know about
that's
grace or
not
mercy.
scriptural anyway.
Now, if you're looking at something by the Spirit and you're discerning that something is incorrect by the Spirit, then that's cool because you're actually discerning that thing, not so much as that person. And a lot
Right.
of times we want to throw away people, but then nobody throw you away. And then nobody throw me away. So you want to have mercy as well. You want to have mercy. You want to have grace. You want to recognize that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Like he wants the people to
Yes.
be reconciled.
Yes.
It's the reason Jesus was like, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, about to shed some tears. Understand the love that is the governor.
Yes.
Now, that's not a pass for any foolishness. You know, we are who we are, and we're all working this thing out. But man, this season of division, and because you said that, there's a lot of judgment going on that has to do with finality. Like people are just dismissing and discounting and speaking over people as though their lives have no worth.
No meaning.
You know, and
Yes.
that's not just along the color lines. That's along
Right.
the sex lines. That's along the monetary lines. You
Yes.
know, they're on social services. They shouldn't be. And so we want to give them a different set of rules. And who are you? Who are you
Right.
to declare and decree how someone else has to live? You know, so just be mindful of that. And that's she's saying this is about be ready. So I don't want to get too stuck there. But this is
Right.
about be ready. So
In every area.
in every area. So even though we just said like you said, shame on you. I don't subscribe to shame. The Bible says not despising the shame. So shame is not something that I want to put on people. So let's do this. Let's help the population. What are ways individuals can get ready? Because people are going to die. And more people, I mean, we don't know who it is. You know, I'm here today. I could be gone tomorrow, but I hope I'm not, but I could be. So we don't know who it is. How would somebody get ready for a death? What are some things you can do, you know, to prepare for a death? You've been around, you know, when they used to take up place in offering so we can bury the saints, you
Ooh,
know.
yes.
You know what I'm
Still
saying? A lot
do.
of
What
people
you
are getting
mean?
cremated because cremation is a less expensive choice. So
Yes.
how does someone get ready financially, even for death? How does that work?
Well, I mean, truthfully, we all know, again, if you can go out, if we can go out, I do appreciate Sharon keeps trying to make it inclusive.
It is inclusive.
It is, but if we can go out and get a Coach bag that is a temporary, I want people to see, well, it might even just be that you like Coach bags. But if we have a two, three, $400 Coach bag and we don't have 50 cents in the bank for our funeral, then we are setting ourselves up for failure. And that's so the first thing is you have to plan, whether it's a comfortable situation or not. We may not want to talk about it, but if you have kids that you're leaving, when your family is mourning, and they're going through, the last thing they really want on their plate is how do we bury mama? How do we bury daddy? How do we bury grandma? And then it gets to the point we got to call our cousins, call our nephews, call this one. And when the truth is, I've lived old enough now that if I just put $100 uh, every few months in a bank, I would have plenty of money to go in the ground. So sometimes it is putting it aside, and not everybody has extra money, and I realize that, but put a few dollars here and there, put it aside. And then I do want to talk about this one. When you're putting that money aside, tell somebody what you're doing,
Where it is.
where the
Where it
money
is.
is. Don't hide it in a jar somewhere and nobody knows. And then when the house catches on fire, they tear the house down. Everybody's finding your
Yeah.
money, and they
Yeah.
ask everybody in the world to help bury you. And secondly, you have kids. You need to talk. This is a sensitive situation. Do you know how many families fall apart because one child wants to do this, one wants to do this, because we did not make our wishes known the way we want a funeral. Do we want to be? Who is the pastor we want to speak over us? Do we want 50 choirs? And this sounds is I'm making it funny, but it's a reality because I have seen so many families fall apart because they think
Uh-oh.
Julie got the mom's jewelry and Randy didn't get anything. Put on a piece of paper, y'all. It would be good if you would get somebody legal to do it, but even a piece of paper. Your kids might honor what you're asking, but don't put them through any more stress than they need to be. All of us, we have big family. You hear everybody say, oh, when grandma was alive, we had big family dinners, and every Sunday we came over, we had so much fun. And then when granny died, it all fell apart. It fell apart because everybody started fighting. So that's the beginning of what I would say, Sharon. Write it down. Secondly, I'm going to say start planning. Plan it. Put some money aside. If you're not disciplined enough to put it in a bank, get an insurance policy. You don't have to get $1 million. Get enough to put us in the ground. Get enough that your children and their children and everybody will not be struggling to put you in a ground. Okay?
All right. Okay, so I like that. Let's talk about be ready other ways. Um, you know what? I'm just gonna go there. So over the past, I want to say 45 days, I know of about 4 or 5 deaths. Not to be gloom and doom, but just some deaths.
Again, it's
And
reality.
more than one of them were like self-inflicted. And so, like, are you ready? Like, listen, man, I don't know when these restraints that we're under are going to lift
When
up. I
they
don't know what's
listen.
coming, but I want to say be ready mentally. You have to be ready mentally. If you're not ready mentally, then that is going to trigger you emotionally.
Right.
So be ready mentally. And here are some ways that you can actually be ready mentally. Quit playing. Quit playing with yourself and quit faking the funk. If you're not well, listen to some things. If you can't go and get counsel, or at your job they don't have EEOC or something like that, go
Mm.
on YouTube. Listen to some mindset things. Listen to sermons, past sermons from your pastors. Listen to
Yes.
things that are going to have your mind, that will
Music even.
feed you.
Music
Music.
settles the
Music is,
mind.
yes, music is a great
Hmm.
thing. Watch some funny movies. Laughter doeth good like a medicine, but do what you need to do for your mental. And if you're around individuals who keep draining your mental, you got to put on your big boy pants and your big girl pants and cut some of that off, because people need you around. And right now, you're not going to have the, what am I calling it? You're not going to have the things like going to the movies, the escapes that you would
Oh, okay.
normally have in this season that we're in America. And another thing for your mental, listen, Linda, listen. After listening to us, get off Facebook. Listen, if you have friends from high school or church or something else, and they're saying things that are damaging you solically, and you can
Yes.
see that they don't give a care
Yes.
about you and that they themselves will be somebody to shoot you like a dog in the street, just unfriend them. If you don't want to unfriend them, just mute
Yeah.
them. Like, don't
Hide.
go to those
Hmm.
places, because that's going to have an effect on you. And these conversations will be different. They'll be different in 4 months after the election. So, good, bad, or ugly, like, get away from those things. These are ways that you can be ready. You have to be ready mentally. Don't get in a conversation that you cannot handle. If you
Yeah.
cannot handle somebody not agreeing with you, or you giving your best and you put all your passion, love, and don't you understand? And they're still looking at you like a deer in headlights, because they don't see it the way you see it. If you
Right.
cannot handle someone having an opposing view, you have to be honest with yourself, and you need to be aware of your emotional intelligence and your triggers. That's part of being ready, saying, you know what, I'm not ready for that conversation. I am not equipped for that at this time. I don't have the mental resources to deal with that and deal with my bills, my work, my children, the homework, the school that I'm doing at home instead of somewhere else. So if that's the case, just be aware of things like that. That's how you can be ready there.
And you're breathing.
You are too, D. So
Okay.
that's a way that you can be ready mentally. Let's talk about physically. Gyms are starting to open back up. What are some ways we can be ready physically? Can you hear me at all?
You went
Physically.
out there for me.
How are we getting ready physically? How can we be ready physically?
You know, I'll just even share my story. When this thing hit, I was good for a couple of weeks. I am a people person. I love being around people. I love laughing and, being just the life of the party. And I want to be around. And so to be shut up in this house, I was cool for about 2 weeks. It felt like you were resting, because I'm working from home, everything.
Uh-oh.
from home, eat. Like our movie telling me, I'm gaining the COVID 15, I'm gaining the 15, like it's the college 15. And I was saying, I'm already, actually, y'all, I have no excuse. There was no going to the gym, but I have a swimming pool right in this backyard. And I finally one day just
I don't know what's going on with her computer.
looking at how water.
All right, we're gonna bring Dee back in just a couple of seconds because she is saying that I'm the one freezing. I do believe we're having some broadband issues. It's like that in the neighborhood now because everybody's working from home. But yes, so Dee's talking, and what she's talking about is the fact that she has a swimming pool, and so I know for her getting ready physically, she has begun to teach and do different things with aerobics. Another thing I believe people can do as far as being ready. I'll wait for her to come back into the back office. As far as being ready, we talked about finances as it relates to homegoings and preparing for funerals, just because there's been a few deaths, but also finances as it relates to like period in life. There are some things, there's some job markets that are not going to come back. People don't want to hear that. It's true. There are some job markets that are going to open up, though, and you can position yourself for those job markets. This is not the time to go out and, we say live your best life, live it relationally, but this isn't the time to go out and spend money frivolously. We don't know. We don't know. We're getting settled again. We're getting our feet back underneath us. And so as far as being ready financially, you want to think about what you're doing with your finances. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. These are just suggestions. I'm not telling you what to do. These are just suggestions. When Dee comes back, I'm going to have her talk about spiritually, what someone would do spiritually to get ready. But we've talked about mental, emotional. For those of you who don't know, I have a book called Hold Your Form. I also have a book called Think on Purpose and Unauthorized Noun, just different things like that. But the book Hold Your Form, I had no idea, but I'm so glad that the Lord allowed me to write that book and talk about those stages of change because that's helped me. Has it made it easier for me? Yes. Does it mean that I haven't endured adversity or gone through some changes and some headaches and some uncertainty and some anxiety because of how everything is going down? Doesn't mean that I haven't had some relationships that have shifted because we have different belief systems, different beliefs as it relates to worldview and how we categorize people. We've had all of that. But that book is very, very helpful. And so, listen, man, get the book. Get the book. I put a link on my YouTube page. I'll put a link even on this Facebook when we get finished. Get that book. I'll take care of the shipping. Just get the book because that book will help you right now. The way this division is, how emotional everybody is. I mean, it's people who physically are having physical responses to the level of stress and division. Like so mad they can't breathe. They want to type real fast. It's crazy. But it's actually happened because there's so much division. And so, Dee, I'm glad to have you back.
I know, I don't know how y'all here. So I'm wondering, the internet is just going crazy. So
Well,
I am
it's
back.
possible. And now you're gone again. What's up?
Even with the time you can use to catch up with reading. We already talked about music. Find something soothing. One of my granddaughters has a parakeet, and she's teaching it to chirp. But whatever
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to. Dee, I think
it
that's
is,
your
I mean,
internet.
if is my internet going in now?
Yeah, love, I think it's yours. But that's
Well,
okay.
I'm gonna say goodbye and let Sharon finish it. And
No,
just
no, 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 no.
am I
I
coming back
need you.
in after
I
that? Okay.
need you to talk about briefly. I do think like if you have other things competing for your broadband, then that will be it. I need you to speak very briefly. You said be ready. What about spiritually? I'm gonna let
I
you have
mean,
that.
spiritually, there are so many things, and I am definitely my person. I do feel like we all have our walk, our own personal walk. accountable to the same God. I do believe that. But I can't tell you, other than scripturally, which is back to my
You
Sharyn
know
says
what?
judge me. But if it's scriptural and you're my sister and you're my brother, then I want you to hold me accountable. But spirit,
Uh,
I want you
I
to
don't know
find
what's
our
what is going
we all
on,
know in
guys.
ourselves. Am I gone again? I'm coming in and
You're
out.
in and out. You're in and out.
And I'm
Either
really
you're,
talking over here, y'all. I'm
I
telling
see it. I see
you.
it.
In
I
and
see
out.
it. But you are in and out. So
I
that's
know. Y'all
funny to
see
me.
my
It's so
this
animated.
is
And
all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm animated and y'all not hearing me. This is a good word on the people.
it's not,
I'm
yo,
just gonna
man.
say seek God for yourself. And you at peace. Okay, I just see Sharon's team. You know if you're not at peace, then you're not walking in the way God created you to walk. Peace, find your joy, and it may not even war, because so often we war against God's best for us because we don't really know. Somebody
Yeah, you're
told
breaking
me the
up.
other day, it was an exam because they were praying, is this who I'm supposed to marry? And they kept hearing God say no. And every night they would go to bed and cry and try to
All right,
mind.
y'all.
Now, if you
Listen,
got
man.
that kind of war going on,
Listen, I'm going
if
to.
you're not hearing,
It's not working with D, but I think I heard her say if you don't have peace, then do what you need to do to have peace because you know it's not working if you don't have the peace. And so I'm going to stop this because this is Talk Time with Dee and Sharyn. And so I know that I'm being seen and I can talk, but I don't see Dee. And so it's kind of going back and forth. It's like whenever she gets good and into it, it freezes on her. And so, but I can see it on the screen. So this is what I want to say before we go. Dee, I know that you can see and hear me now, but I don't know what the deal is and why it's going in and out. I just want to say, be ready. Listen, it's September, y'all. Say what you will about 2020, but 2020 is almost 75% over. We're about to enter into the fourth quarter of this year come October. It's September, y'all. So get ready. And if you don't know how fast change can occur, if 2020 ain't let you know that you have to be, ain't let you know, that's Oklahoma right there. If 2020 hasn't proven to you that you have to be ready to pivot and ready to change at a moment's notice, that you need to know where you are and take an assessment of your present situation, your present standing, your present location, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and all of those areas, then I don't know what will. I don't know what will, but I'm hoping that you will stay ready and be ready and do what you need to do to be ready. Don't just sit around and wait and be like, well, they're going to send us an unemployment check. Eventually, they're not going to. Well, they're going to give us another stimulus packet. Eventually, they're not going to. So do what you need to do and be ready, get ready, stay ready, and then help somebody else get ready, you know? It ain't just about you and your four, you and you know, get ready so that you can be a blessing to somebody else. So many people out there say, you know, I subscribe to biblical principles. So many people claim Christendom, but you know what? You're blessed to be a blessing. You're not blessed to hoard it up. You're blessed to be a blessing. If you're stocking it up and you feel like you got that that Joseph thing on you, then store it up so that you can dispense it out and be a blessing the way you are designed to be a blessing. You've got to get ready. You've got to stay ready, and you've got to guard your heart. You cannot let these conversations, you cannot let the fact that someone holds up a Black Lives Matter sign put you, have you, what's it called, a conniption? You can't have a conniption because somebody holds up a Black Lives Matter sign. And at the same token, you can't have a conniption because somebody's still waving a Confederate flag or saying all lives matters, blue lives matters, or because they just dismiss your point of view. And and the world, it takes all kinds, and the world is made up of all kinds. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I had people I thought was like family to me, and you know what? They start laughing at me about Kool-Aid, and when I called them out on it, it was a whole bunch of different things. Listen, you've got to let it go. You've got to guard your heart. You've got to let it go, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready for adversity. You have to be ready for people who don't see things the way you see things.
Yes.
You just got to be ready for that. And you can't be
Yes.
ready for just the fight. And you can't be like, "Ooh, I told them, man, that's a lesser victory." Get your influence, get your money, get things in order in a different way. Gone with this. It's time out for those lesser victories. It's time out for that. I told them off. Okay, now what? Now what? So this is Talk Time with Dee and Sharyn. D, you don't see how it is when you ain't talking about something spiritual or the word.
Then
And you
I'm
ain't
fine.
froze up once. You know what
And
I'm
then I'm
saying?
fine. It's
So to bless
terrible.
this, come on, man.
See, I just
Come.
want to say this, Sharon, while you were talking. I don't know if people even realize, but do you know how many believers that were like, I know God is going to get me through this time. And then we're the main, well, not the main ones, but I saw a lot of us, 20 packs of toilet tissue, 25 things of 48 water bottles. And as Sharon said, it's okay to store up, but are you only taking care of yourself? Do you know
Yeah.
how many elderly could have appreciated some of that? Some people that were really shut in could appreciate that. But God is taking care of me. But who are you taking care of? Because God calls us. He blesses us, as she said, to be a blessing. So we're people that are hoarding up, and it's only me and my four, and then other people around us can't find anything. That's not really being a blessing to anybody, the body or anybody else. So I do challenge us. They're telling us another round is coming through. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's a hoax. I don't know what's real. I'm so over that now that I'm just saying this year has shown us like never before. We need to get our house in order. We need to get our minds right. We need to
Yeah.
get our bodies right. We need to get our finances right. And we need to get on our knees before the Most High God, seeking His face as to what will you do? What do you want me to do? What am I to do in this season? Because if you're only in your house complaining, crying, or sitting in a corner somewhere afraid, you're not doing anything good for anybody else. If
And if
anybody's
you're
supposed
spitting venom, if
you
you're spitting
spitting
venom,
venom,
if you
you're
can't talk
not
without
helping
getting mad, your
anybody.
body get all tense, your eyes squinch up, and
Yes, you're
you
not
know,
helping anybody. No.
govern that, man.
So I'm challenging us. If nobody else is supposed to be out there being a light, don't tell me you've been out there beating people up and then this little light of mine. That doesn't really go together, people. It doesn't go together. And no matter what, we're called to be witnesses. If you are a believer, you're called to be a witness. It didn't tell us to be a witness when we like the situation. We're to be a witness to everybody. We're not hiding these lights under the bushel because I want to tell you off right now, and then I'm gonna walk away from you and not let you know I'm a Christian because I just blown my witness. Or even if you did, you know what? We
Yeah,
all
because I don't. Yeah, that's.
no, but can I say this?
I was
We
gonna say
all have
that's
our
the nature. Go
moments.
ahead.
We all have our moments, and I know this. But that's also why we have a mouth or a heart for repentance. And some of those very people that we have told off and we have been fighting to, God may require us to go back to those people and ask for forgiveness. So be careful. Be careful of what you let come out of here and what you put in this heart. We still, we're still supposed to be more concerned about His will than ours. And when your flesh is being hit, it's hard to remember that because you want to rise up. No, you won't tell me off. No, you won't put that flag in my face. No, you won't do this. Be careful. That's all I'm going to say. And pray and pray. And for real, Lord, who am I to bless during this time? Because there's always somebody worse off, always somebody worse off, and always somebody that you can go and say, here's 2 rolls of tissue. If you need anything else, I'll try. I mean, I'm using these things, but this is real. You saw where grocery stores couldn't even get stocked up because the same people repeatedly sitting there as soon as they open. So it's everything, y'all. Spiritually, get it together. We've given you some points. Meditate, listen to music, read your word, mentally, those same things. Keep your spirit calm. Stay out of conversations that ruffle you. Stay out of conversations that have your blood pressure going up. Stay out of conversations where everybody's screaming at each other and putting everybody down. One of the things right now is people have taken sides. And if you're on this side, you can't say anything right. If you're on this side, you can't say anything right or wrong. It depends on which side you're on. There's a little bit of good in every side. Now, I'll be like the president is. No, but there's a little good in every side.
On all
And maybe at
sides.
this moment, they're not liking what we're saying and we're not liking what they say. But I guarantee you, we didn't meet on the battlefield. We'd probably sit down and have a burger together. You know,
Right.
it's the truth. We work with people every day. And yet, when we see them out there, our whole attitude changes about them. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. We don't know people's background. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know experiences they've had any more than they know ours. So sometimes we just gotta pray for grace.
Again,
Grace.
guys, listen,
Okay?
go to YouTube, man. UCDI Leadership on YouTube. Get the book. The link is there because there are some things we operate as if they're deal breakers, and they're not. They're not deal breakers. They're not. You know, the fact that you like a Confederate flag, like that's not a deal breaker for me. Uh, Emotionally, I'm like, oh man, it's
It
kind of
makes me
sad.
question.
Yeah, it's kind of
But
sad,
I'm not
but
gonna
it's
shoot
sad
you.
because this is my earth suit. This is my earth suit. And
Yeah,
I've experienced some things on the other side of that flag. But that doesn't mean that you can't like that flag. You know?
right.
It doesn't
Right.
mean that. And that's not a deal breaker for me. Maybe because I'm from
Yeah.
Oklahoma. But that
You
doesn't mean
know,
that you're less than a person or you don't have a right to exist on this planet to me. I feel
yeah.
the same way for drug addicts. I feel the same way for LGBT. Like, none of that means that somebody doesn't have a right to exist on this planet because
And none of that
we
shows
are,
me their
those
real
aren't
heart.
deal breakers.
Yeah,
Those aren't
yeah,
deal breakers. Those are the same people who will rescue animals and be like, hey, and
exactly.
volunteering somewhere. Those are some of the same people who reach out and help me when people who I would have thought would have didn't. And so, I'm just saying, like, ask yourself, is this a deal breaker? Some of the lines we're drawing are unnecessary lines. They're unnecessary lines. So
Sharon, let
go
me
ahead.
share this and I'll be through. I remember when I was doing background singing for somebody and I had trouble with them, I don't know, a year or two. And one of their closing songs was Dixieland. In Dixieland, I forgot the words, take my stand to live and die in Dixie. And I did the song twice. And the third time I was like, I will never sing this song again. Every time I got ready to sing that song, something just rose up in me. They didn't do nothing for me in Dixieland.
Yeah.
And I just finally, I was getting angry at him because he kept wanting us to do this Dixieland song. And then I was like, Deronda, you're getting this upset and you never once open your mouth to tell him how you feel and why you feel this way. I was just feeling anger every time we got to that song. Oh, I just want to let me be honest. I just want to hit that man in the back of his head while he was singing that song. And I finally just went to him and said, I cannot sing Dixieland. I can't. I won't do it. Because I don't have good memory. I don't have those
Yeah.
favorite memories that you talk
I
about
do
in
not wish I
Dixieland.
was in Dixie.
I don't want to go to Dixieland. So he didn't understand. And, it kept, I think the next night, because he was like, well, just okay. And then the next night the music came on and I just exited the stage on that song. Now he didn't expect that, but I told you I wasn't singing it. And we sat down after that and I just said, I can't sing this. I don't think you understand the memories that brings back to me. I conjures up from all the stories or the hangings, the different things I've seen.
The
So
castrations.
maybe Dixieland was a great memory for you, and I can respect that. So you sing Dixieland without me, and then we'll go get on the bus and be happy friends again.
Yeah.
And but sometimes just talking it out and understanding we are coming from different places. And as Sharon said, I see people, even people that I count as friends, every now and then something comes out of their mouth and it shocks me like, oh, I didn't know you believed like that. Does that undo all the years that they've been good to me. Either
Right.
we've laughed together. Does that comment undo it? Or maybe that's time for us to sit down and have a good conversation together. Well, explain to me why you think this, and I'll explain to you why I believe the way I do. But I've decided I'm not going to undo years and years of friendship because we disagree on one or two things. Okay?
Yeah. And
So
that's all I'm saying. I agree with
work
that.
it out.
It's not a deal
Mhm.
breaker. Sometimes we make deal breaker. Sometimes we assign something as a deal breaker, or we act as if it's a deal breaker, and that's the wrong ultimatum. Like, that's the wrong ultimatum. Like, is that where you're going to put your flag? It doesn't have
Right.
to do with death or anything like that. Now, things that have to do with death and the inability for you to provide for your family, you know, deal with that. Deal with it as you may, which is mainly going to be voting and
Yeah.
using your money and your resources to support individuals that create an environment for you to thrive versus otherwise. But it doesn't mean that you have to hate people. It doesn't mean that you have to feel like people they're not worthy of a spot on this earth. Stop that. Stop that. That's hate in your heart, man. That's hate in your heart, and you're sharing it with other people and they're learning it. You're exporting that whether you're aware of it or not. Stop that. Hate is never good for anybody. Hate sin. Don't hate sinners. You know? hate a
Mm.
hate an unjust process, but don't hate people. Like, that's
Right.
only going to eat you up. So I
Right.
don't know what's going on Talk Time with Dee and Sharyn today. We like get your life in order for real. You think
Get it in order, y'all, in every area.
yo, man,
Every area.
we ain't
Every
gonna pass
area.
the offering plate. We're just talking. We're talking about where we
Here,
are.
you put it in my hand.
We're talking about where we are right now. We're saying get ready. I'm saying get ready because it's September of 2020, and some of us are still waiting on March to go back to normal. Bruh,
Mm.
sis,
Yeah.
it's about
I
to be
don't, this
October.
might be our normal.
Adjust, pivot,
Mm-hmm.
stop, drop, and roll, and get up. You know what I'm saying? Because this
Mm-hmm.
is it. Stop being afraid of computers. Stop being afraid of Microsoft. Stop being afraid of video cameras. Stop being afraid of things because they look like
Yes.
something different from what you're used to.
Yes.
Lean in. YouTube has a lot of stuff free. Get ready. Are you ready? That's the bottom line. That's the question of the evening. Are
Yes.
you ready?
Who
It's
was
easy
it?
for people to
Commission, I
talk.
think.
Go ahead.
Commission had a song that said, "Will you be ready?"
Go ahead,
And
go
I
ahead, go
think
ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
that's
go ahead.
all
I'm
I'm gonna
sitting
do is
back.
that
No,
line,
no,
y'all.
give it to him. Christy, tell her to give it to us. Give it to him. Give it to him. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
When
go.
Jesus comes,
Yes.
will you be ready? When Jesus comes. And that's really my question. That's all I care about, y'all. Everything else, we don't, it's gonna stay right here. The fighting, the division, everything else is gonna stay here. Will you be ready when Jesus comes? And before he comes, can you walk in peace until he comes? Can we walk
Yes.
in harmony? Can we work on, Lord, I don't want to add to the issues. Show me what I can do to calm the situation. And that truly is, again, get your money right, y'all. Sharon was talking about doing this time. I've been trying to do this Excel course. Woo, driving me crazy because I'm not computer literate. But you
Yes,
know
you
what?
are.
I'm sitting at home. I got time to do a whole lot of things. I was talking about getting out of that pool. I've been going out there and the weather's changing, it's getting colder. But you know what? After I run the lap a couple of times, I'm hot. Then I'm like, thank you for this cool water. So it's so there are so many things that if we could quit looking at the doom and gloom and look what we could do to enhance our surroundings, enhance our lives, y'all, we come out on the other side of this thing and we come out better people, okay? More loving, more appreciative. I said I'm going to end. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday and it was quite interesting because he was asking me, how I felt if you didn't go under the umbrella of Christian, then how could I accept you? I said, because I'm not the judge and the jury. It's quite easy. I'm not the final answer. And so one of the things that I could tell him because I've traveled and sat with so many different religions, so many different people, and I've had the chance to experience the heart of some, even the atheists, the Muslims, some Buddhists. I've met people, the people. And
Yeah.
so it was easier for me to look past the religions, what they believe, because I just met them as people. And you
Yeah.
know what? So I was telling him, if I got nothing else out of all the travels I've done, I have gotten such a heart for people. And that's what I can see when I look at angry faces on TV. As Sharon said, out of that situation, they may be the nicest people in the world. But in this situation, and I don't want to judge them based on this situation, but I could tell him last night, and you know what? The bottom line is, I don't know who's going to stand before God, and I don't know who God will accept. So it's no point in me sitting on my throne now trying to say, he's out, she's out, because one day I was out.
Right.
One day I
Right.
was out.
Right. And everybody's going to stand before God. I put that in a
Yeah,
post recently. You're going to stand before God the same way you're going to stand in that voting booth by yourself.
please go vote.
Pray. Yeah, go vote.
Go
Pray.
vote.
Pray and make your best decision. You know, make your best decision and let it be. You don't have to tell everybody and their mom and their mom how you voted. You don't have to hate people whether they voted for or against how you voted. You know, that doesn't mean you can never. That's come on. People grow, people change. Just the same space of grace we've had to grow. People grow and they change, and so
Yes.
you can't landlock somebody for the next 50 years based on how they voted in 2008 or 2012 or 16 or 2020. You know, pray and vote.
Yes,
Pray and
I
vote,
agree.
you know, and yeah. So that's all I want to say on that. Thank y'all. We've been chatting for a while, so we need to hush. You gonna sing us another song? You gonna sing that Will You Be Ready thing again? You got something for us, D? Oh, now you want to freeze up again. Oh man. Oh man, that song was beautiful. All right, guys. Well, I don't know if Dee's gonna come back and join us. I want to say thanks for sharing your time with us on this Thursday night. Be kind to somebody, be nice to somebody, not for wealth or reward or for fame or anything like that. Just do it because it's an awesome thing to do. And that is the ripple effect you want to have. That's the exportation. You want to export that. That's what you want to carry. If you don't be pig pen bringing dust and dirt everywhere, be the person that's bringing light and love and peace and possibility. When people talk to you, they're better for having talked to you. Like, man, I'm glad I got to spend time with that individual. And they begin to have a better outlook on life, period. And so I'm encouraging you to be that person. I'm also encouraging you to be the person who keeps an ear out for the Holy Spirit and says, Lord, who can I help today? And what does that look like? It may look like you giving somebody $10. It may look like you filling up a gas tank. It may look like you just sitting down with somebody and listening to them for like 10 or 15 minutes. It may look like somebody being able to cry on your shoulder. Yeah, even in the time of COVID, put on a mask. I don't know, but let them cry on your shoulder because listen, man, it's a lot of people who are really sad out there, and there have been some deaths from disease, death from different things, normal deaths, but there's also been an increase in like the mental, like people feeling hopeless. Faith, hope, and love, you know? Keep your faith, guard your hope, and display love because I wouldn't want to go through this time without a savior and to go through this time hopeless. My God, that is a dark and despairing place. So be an agent of change and be a carrier of hope. That's all I got. Y'all be safe. God bless. Chrissy, glad that you joined us. Arlene, thanks for joining us. Y'all feel free to share this video. It's kind of long, so maybe you want to tell them where to go if there was something you heard that you liked. Ta-ta.